everyone, my name is Dennis Wong and I'm from the Portfolio Manager team here at Real Estate Investar, and welcome to the Cash Flow Strategy playlist. And in this video I'm going to take you through Investor Search to help you find cash flow positive potential properties. So on the homepage, click on Investor Search and this will launch our Investor Search homepage. And with finding cash flow positive property opportunities, I do recommend that the first thing that you do complete is your default profile. So you can access this on the top right corner here or also on the bottom right corner. This just allows you to set some default financial data based on your current circumstances. And this will help with analyzing some of the properties that will come up in the results list, and I will go through that in more detail. But in here you can set information such as the loan type, whether you're looking at getting an interest-only loan, what is your interest rate, things like your deposit, loan costs, put in some guesstimates in terms of capital growth rates and CPI. And then you also have the ability either as a dollar value or a percentage of the property purchase price to put in some property expenses. So obviously with every property across Australia, these figures will vary. So if you know roughly what they may be, or if you use worst case scenario figures, then obviously it's going to look a lot better once you get the information from the agent, who can obviously get things like expenses from the current vendor. So once you've entered that information, and once you can save your default profile, and that information will be used as a base to do a quick snapshot on any properties that you search. So once your default profile is set, look, a lot of these filters you'll be familiar with. So with Investor Search, you can search by some investment related filters. So in here you can search by specific suburbs, and it's just a matter of then selecting it from the list and it'll add it to the top. And if you need to exclude anything, you can obviously then just click on the X's. You can search by regions as well. So if you wanted to search, say, for the whole Gold Coast region, you can select a region. Or if perhaps you want to search by a particular postcode, you want to be around a particular CBD or around a particular hub where there may be a university or a hospital, then you can click on more location options. And if you change the location advanced filter from limit postcode to search radius, you can then set a radius of, say, 25 kilometres within the Brisbane CBD postcode of 4,000. Now, if you're looking in areas that you're not familiar with, we do have the link down the bottom there that says postcode search, which will link you through to the Australia Post website, so you can quickly just type in the suburb and it will provide you with the postcode. Price range. So if you know your budget is, say, 500,000, I generally recommend that you go to the next level up. As you may be aware, that sellers generally don't list their property at true market value, maybe a little bit higher, so you don't want to miss out on an opportunity that might be listed at $505,000. That's really only worth, say, $480,000. So let's go up to the next tier. If you want to exclude anything that's going to auction or has no price, you can set the minimum from all to $1. That way then it will only show us properties that have a price listed. All right, so there's a couple of ways that you can search for positive cash flow property opportunities. This is the first way, is by the keyword strategy filter. So in here, we have a positive cash flow option. Now what this does is, once you select it, by default it'll tick all these keywords in this box. Now these keywords come from the ad in the listing. So generally when a real estate agent is selling a property that has cash flow positive potential, they may use keywords like 10% yield, 9% yield, cash flow, student accommodation, good rent, granny flat. And so this will pick up opportunities that have these keywords. Now obviously this is based on what the agent is advertising, and ultimately the goal for them is to sell the property. So this should only be just used as a basis first, and then you do more analysis afterwards. But this is one way of quickly identifying these opportunities. So we'll leave it on, say, positive cash flow. You can add in your own keywords using the free text field, or even exclude. So perhaps you don't want anything in a retirement home, then you can put in specific words in there. property type, so if you're only interested in houses or units, you can specify that, or if you want number of bedrooms as well. And then we've got some other investment related filters here as well, which I won't go through right now, but if we just base it on keywords, then I can then hit search. And so it will now search across the multiple websites we've got access to. Generally anywhere we'll have between 900,000 to 1.2 million listings that will be searched. So we're going through a radius. It will then load up our results. So we've got 1.2 million and I've got over 2,000 matching properties. So there are my key filters that I've selected. If I want to update any of those, I can simply click on the left-hand toolbar here. You don't have to go back to the Investor Search homepage, which does take a little bit longer. So you can click on the left-hand side here and it'll expand. So here I might then, perhaps there's too many results here, I might want to narrow my filters down to maybe within 15 Ks, and perhaps I want something at least with a minimum of 2 bedrooms, and then I can hit update, and the search engine will then refine and bring up my results. All right, so you can see here what we're looking at. You can then sort the listings. It defaults by newest to oldest, so by the date. But if you're looking at rental yield, then you can sort it by high to low. And so what we're looking at here is the asking price is listed here. It's a new listing, so it means it's just come onto the market within the last day or so. And now you'll notice on the right-hand side we have a snapshot. So I talked earlier about the default profile. So this is where the data is pulled from to calculate your potential cash flow. So you can see here that it's got a current potential rent of $400 a week. And if I click on see full property details, you can expand the ad and have a look. So this comes directly from the advertisement from domain.com.au. And if I scroll down a little bit, you can see that, okay, rent potential $400 a week. So it's pulled that information through. Cash flow per annum before tax, it's saying it's going to be negative $270. So it means that the rent wouldn't actually cover all the expenses and the loan repayments that I input in my default profile. Now, if I knowing that I put in worst case scenario figures, this could actually be positive. So once I find out those figures, I can then actually analyze it in much more detail, which I will talk about in another video in the property analyzer from the playlist. So, but you can quickly get a snapshot. So you can, like I said, you can sort it by the potential gross yield. Have a look at the higher ones. This is potentially 5.5%. You've got Suburb Stats here by the property type that you're looking at. So we're very specific. So in this case, it's a 2-bedroom unit. So we'll give you the median listing price, median weekly rent, and the median gross yield for a 2-bedroom unit in this specific suburb. So if I collapse this ad and have a look at another one, you'll notice the stats change. In this case now, it's a 3-bedroom house. The graphs are specific as well, just gives you the median listing history for the last 5 years. Green just indicates there's been an increase from the previous period. Red means there's been a drop. Grey just indicates either an increase or decrease, but it's just indicating that it's a period of 3 months instead of 12 months. Now, if there's not enough data, then that's when you'll get no snapshot information. So it just means there's not enough data to calculate the snapshot. You just have to analyze it in more detail. But if you expand the ad like I did before, so what you can also do is get access to other resources, so other websites. If you want to get a quick look at where the property is positioned, you can have a look at Google Maps and Street View, perhaps go to the local council website to get some further information, see if there's any recent planning applications in the area, look at the local state infrastructure website as well. So there's some good resources here just to get a bit more information on the area. We've got some suburb stats, so the key here is to look at things like vacancy rate, current listings, and average days on market. And then finally, you get an idea of the number of sales listings by property type and also by price bracket, and a little bit of basic demographic information on the right-hand side as well. So that's the first way of searching for cash flow positive properties by keywords. Now, if I go back to the home page, so an alternative option is to search by property yield. So if you don't want to rely on the text itself and by the keywords used by the agent, then what you can do is leave the keyword strategy on all, and I'll just take out retirement. And then what you can do is then use some property specific options. If you click on the option here, it'll expand, and we actually have a field called property yield. And so if you set that to say a minimum of 6%, what that does is it looks for any properties where there's an advertised rent, and then it divides it by the asking price to see whether the property yield is going to be 6%. And so if I then hit search, I can see that I've got 188 opportunities that meet that criteria. So you can see here now in the snapshot table, I've got a potential gross yield of 7%. Cash flow here, over $6,000. So now you can be a lot more specific based on the actual data provided in the ad. As long as rent is provided, you can then obviously calculate that information. So now you can really focus on higher gross yielding properties. Okay. Obviously, then you can refine your criteria more, narrow your searches down. So if you're using this on a regular basis, another filter that might be useful is listing age. You can set it to a maximum, say 1 week. Only show me listings that have been on the market for the past week. All right, so that's from property. Now, if I go back, there is one more option that you can do. Let's just say, for example, that you're not too fussed on an area, and you want to just find properties in an area where on average the suburb has high rental yields. So what you could do then is not use property yield, is use suburb rental yield and say, look, I want to find all suburbs where on average it has minimum 7% yield. So I might just need to expand the radius a little bit out to say maybe 30 kilometers, and then I'll hit search. And now I've got 79 opportunities. So you can see here, this is 5.4% yield in the snapshot, but in the suburb stats, the median gross yield is 13.7%. So there are a couple of ways that you can search for cash flow positive properties. Now, once you find an opportunity, join me in the next video, My Value, My Research, and I can show you how then you can look at a property and see what it's potentially worth, get some sales history, listing history on the property.